Imagine boarding a luxury ocean liner. Grand ballrooms illuminated by crystal chandeliers. Live music echoing through elegant halls. Champagne flowing freely. Celebrities mingling among the elite. Now imagine discovering that decades after every passenger disembarked, some of them may have never truly left. Today, there's a ship permanently docked in California that welcomes thousands of visitors every year. But according to countless witnesses, some of its oldest residents don't appear on any official passenger list. They are said to be ghosts. Its name is the Queen Mary. And this is the story of how one of the greatest engineering achievements of the 20th century became one of the most haunted places on Earth. The 1930s were marked by an intense but silent competition among world powers. Nations fought not only with armies but with technology, innovation, and prestige. Germany was launching impressive ships. Britain needed an answer. That answer came in the form of an enormous transatlantic liner, unlike anything the world had seen before. Stretching more than 310 meters in length and packed with unprecedented luxury, the Queen Mary was designed to symbolize British dominance of the seas. When she embarked on her maiden voyage in 1936, the world was amazed. Elegant restaurants, luxurious lounges, theaters, swimming pools, ballrooms, everything about the ship represented wealth and sophistication. Crossing the Atlantic aboard the Queen Mary was not simply transportation. It was an experience reserved for society's elite. But no one could have imagined the darker role this magnificent vessel would soon play. In 1939, World War II erupted across Europe. Almost overnight, the Queen Mary was transformed from a luxury liner into a machine of war. Its windows were blacked out. Its lavish interiors were stripped down. Its iconic colors disappeared beneath military gray paint. Soon, soldiers began calling it by a new name, the Gray Ghost. Throughout the war, the ship transported hundreds of thousands of troops across the Atlantic. Its speed made it nearly impossible for German submarines to catch. But in 1942, a tragedy occurred that would forever stain the ship's history. While sailing near the coast of Ireland, the Queen Mary collided with the British cruiser HMS Curacao. The impact was catastrophic. The smaller warship was cut in half. Hundreds of sailors were thrown into the freezing ocean, and the Queen Mary continued forward. Military orders prohibited troop ships from stopping under any circumstances. To many, this moment marked the beginning of the darkness that would later become associated with the vessel. Over the course of its long career, dozens of deaths were officially recorded aboard the Queen Mary. Heart attacks, accidents, illnesses, suicides, crew members killed while working, passengers who never reached their final destination. Among all these tragedies, one story became legendary, the story of John Pedder. In July 1966, the 18-year-old crewman was performing routine duties when he was crushed by a watertight door known as Door 13. His death was instantaneous. Yet according to countless reports, John never truly left the ship. Visitors frequently describe seeing a young man, wearing blue overalls, wandering through the engine room corridors. He appears near Door 13, watching, waiting, then vanishing without a trace. Of all the stories connected to the ship, none are more unsettling than those involving children. One of the most famous is Jacqueline. According to legend, she drowned in one of the ship's swimming pools decades ago. Today, visitors claim to hear the laughter of a little girl echoing through empty rooms. Some report hearing footsteps. Others hear singing. A few even claim to have held conversations with her. Paranormal investigators have recorded mysterious voices that seem to answer questions directly. Yet there is one important detail. No official records confirm that Jacqueline ever died aboard the ship. And still, the reports continue. Year after year, decade after decade. Another child frequently mentioned is Dana. Witnesses describe seeing a young girl wander in the hallways, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing, as if she is still searching for someone she lost long ago. If there is one location capable of terrifying even experienced investigators, it is Room B340. For years, guests reported impossible events: violent knocking, blankets being pulled from beds, faucets turning on by themselves, objects moving unexpectedly, footsteps pacing the room in the middle of the night. The complaints became so frequent that management eventually closed the room. Even after it was locked and left empty, strange reports continued. Today, Room B340 is once again available for reservation, and it remains one of the most sought-after paranormal destinations in the world. Deep within the lower levels of the ship lies an area many employees prefer to avoid: the old engine room. This is where reports of paranormal activity become especially intense. Visitors describe hearing voices, metallic banging, moving tools, footsteps where no one is present. Some claim to feel invisible hands touching their shoulders. Others report seeing the silhouette of a worker staring down through an opening above. When they call someone else over to confirm what they saw, the figure is gone. Unlike many supposedly haunted locations, the Queen Mary has been the subject of professional investigations. Researchers have installed sensors, audio equipment, electromagnetic detectors, and other scientific instruments throughout the ship. Over the course of months, investigators documented numerous unusual occurrences. Many were eventually explained through natural causes. Others remain unexplained to this day. And that raises an unavoidable question. Is the Queen Mary truly haunted? Or is something else happening here? There are three major explanations. The first is the supernatural explanation. According to believers, the spirits of those who died aboard the ship never moved on. The second is known as the residual haunting theory. It suggests that intense emotions and traumatic events can somehow imprint themselves onto physical environments, replaying like recordings trapped in time. The third explanation is entirely skeptical. Supporters argue that the ship's age, constant structural noises, shifting temperatures, and decades of ghost stories create the perfect environment for the human mind to misinterpret ordinary events. But there is one problem. None of these theories fully explain every report. Today, the Queen Mary remains permanently docked in Long Beach, California. Thousands of tourists walk its corridors every year. Some leave without experiencing anything unusual. Others leave convinced they encountered something impossible to explain. Perhaps the ghosts are real. Perhaps they are merely echoes of the past. Or perhaps the true mystery lies somewhere in between. Because when a place witnesses so much joy, so much fear, so many reunions, and so many deaths, maybe something really does remain behind. And what about you? Would you spend a night alone in Room B340? Would you walk past door 13 after midnight? Fortunately, that decision is yours to make.